to destroy as much of humanity as they possibly can and to get as rich as possible as they can doing it. And anyone who is a Christian has the duty to oppose them root and branch. This attack on the coal industry, which is now the next target, now they've lost the overall battle. They're picking off the industries one by one, starting with coal. Well, the answer is that the coal industry has got to stop being so soppy about it. It's got to start fighting back. It's got
sir, that's what I was going to point out is that, for my grandmother, I can give her some money and demand she turn her air conditioner on or turn the heat on in the winter. But, you know, in the West, it's killing people by the hundreds and hard shipping millions. And they admit they want a post-industrial world, but you've broken down the numbers. Over a decade, if that Copenhagen Treaty would have been put in, 1 billion conservatively, they don't know 15 million children starve to death a year. They don't know it's 25 to 30 million counting adults. They don't know that more than half the world's on $2 a day or less. They don't know it's a death sentence. And talking to the hippies and well-meaning liberals who aren't diabolical people like Maurice Strong or Al Gore, I want you to morally speak to them, because this isn't a game, and 51% of our power is coal. It's totally clean. Nothing but carbon dioxide comes out the top and water vapor. They've got federal devices on it scanning it, and that's why they had to list carbon dioxide as a pollutant, as a way to shut it down. I mean, our whole society here, America, is built on cheap energy, and now, on the way our financial actuaries have been established, this is going to bankrupt poor people. I mean, this is affecting my grandmother. This is affecting people everywhere, and I have these...
I think what's going to happen, Alex, is that states like Texas, for instance, whose governor is not going to take any prisoners on this, they're just going to eventually say to the federal government, we are no longer going to comply with those laws which are insane and cruel to our people. Texas has just had a long, hard drought. Of course, this was immediately blamed on global warming by the usual suspects. It wasn't. It was a blocking high. It's a well-known natural phenomenon. It's happened before. It happened in the 1930s. It's happening again. It'll happen again the next time the sun goes into this stage of its solar cycle. But the fact is, in Texas, in Maine, in places where they are more independent-minded, they're beginning to say, why should we any longer listen to a federal government which has literally gone mad and which is so cruel that it no longer cares about its own very poorest and most vulnerable people? And so to those of you who are the kind of wet, soggy liberals who think that the environment is a nice, cozy, soft issue and there's no cost to being green, yes, there is. It is a cost in misery, it is a cost in disease, it's a cost in cold, it's a cost in heat, it's a cost in human lives, a cost which you are carelessly forcing the poor and vulnerable people of your nation and of other nations to endure. So get off your moral high horse. You're on the wrong horse. The moral arguments are all with us who have questioned this nonsense from the start. There needs to be more balance, more rationality, more reason. We need to make sure, before we ever get into a scare like this ever again, that the math is done independently by people unconnected with the small, narrow, left-wing group of scientists that has been pushing this agenda from the start and then pretending that the majority of scientists believe it. The majority of scientists don't believe a single word of it. That most of them have never even thought about it.
And that hoax is coming out. And in final conclusion, Lord Moncton, and the reason I made the point about my grandmother is I get these emails saying you must be paid by the coal industry. I've been paid zero by the coal industry. I own zero coal stock. I understand it's more than half our power. I understand it's clean. I've done the research in the last decade, and I know that they have a plan to shut it down. It is so diabolical. In closing, people say, well, why do you represent coal? I represent poor people that get their power from it. And again, it's a death sentence here. It's more of a death sentence in the third world. Why at the heart of it is Maurice Strong, the UN, why do they love a post-industrial world?
Money, power, and glory in their hands and not in yours or mine. That is what it has always been about. That is what it's about now. That's what it always will be about until we get rid of these people and let us turn their own devices on them. They were planning to establish a European Environmental Criminal Court so that the likes of me could be brought in front of it and locked up for years for daring to say there isn't a problem with the climate and for saying so for scientific and economic reasons. Let's do it to them. Every time they produce bogus, bent science, fraudulent graphs, bent graphs, dodgy data, dodgy dossiers, then let's go after them and prosecute them for straightforward, old-fashioned criminal fraud and lock them up. And every time a pensioner dies because she can't afford to heat her home, let's go and get one of those bad, mad scientists who has been exaggerating the scare and fiddling the data and send them to prison for a very, very, very long time.
Well, we've come a long way thanks to your leadership and others. Lord Christopher Monckton, scienceandpublicpolicy.org. We've had it up on screen while you've been speaking. Thank you so much for spending your time late at night over in England with us.
Well, it's a real pleasure, Alex. Keep up the good work. We will keep your nation and mine free, whatever they try to do to stop us. So God bless America.
Well, God bless you, sir, and England and the whole world. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for InfoWars Nightly News. If you're a new viewer, it's important to understand this isn't a joke. This isn't a game. These authoritarians are here. Every generation faces tyranny. It always comes in a new guise. It's not going to look like Tojo or Hitler. It's not going to look like Stalin. It comes in the form of these environmental power-grabbing priests. Now, I know this show is airing on some TV systems around the country. We also post it to YouTube, where hundreds of thousands a day, millions a week are watching it. If you want to see it live and first, and archive with all the other material and 8 years of information, become a PrisonPlanet.tv subscriber. That's PrisonPlanet.tv or InfoWarsNews.com. We will defeat these people because good folks around the world are standing up to these control freaks. I'm Alex Jones signing off from the InfoWars newsroom. We'll see you back tomorrow.